This AskReddit user asks, what is something that is normalized in society when in reality is horrific? The death sentence. Yeah, if it didn't exist historically and someone brought it up as a new idea, they would be locked up for suggesting it. How about, instead of putting someone in prison for a set amount of time related to their crimes, we just have a civil servant murder them? Quote, you'll note that most people who are the loudest supporters of the death penalty also proclaim themselves to be pro-life. No. I think not. Cheating and rape jokes. Added sugar and salt in food. It's additive. Slavery. P.S. I'm assuming you meant any society, as you did not clarify present or not, though unfun fact, there are more slaves now than ever. The way you know capitalism works just fine as us is that in the supermarket you can choose between slave-free chocolate and non-slave-free chocolate, and that the one that needs a label is the slave-free chocolate. It always makes me uneasy when I consider the fact that many things I own are made by either slaves or people who aren't slaves, only by some questionable technicality. But I never know which things, so it's all but impossible to avoid purchasing such items. How close we have to sit next to people on airplanes, public transportation. Celebrities getting away with violence and still get to have a successful career. For example, Chris Brown and Mark Wahlberg. It never fails to surprise people when I bring up Mark's past. It feels like most people don't know about his aggressively racist past. He's a scum FK and I refuse to watch anything with him in it. I also listen to Chris Brown, but I wouldn't even if he was a good guy. Chris is a shitty dude making shitty music. I can easily just forget about him like society should. Mark also told Kate Moss she's ugly. She was a minor and was forced to pose nude with him, and she was extremely self-conscious and uncomfortable. He then told her she was ugly after he literally saw her naked. 6ix9ine and Cardi B have a lot in common. They are both rappers that got away with very serious crimes and are just nasty, but still are having successful careers. But they're hated by this branch of the internet. Family vloggers, bloggers. It's one thing to be a parent giving advice or sharing experiences with other parents. And it's one thing also to take pictures, videos with your kids to share with family over social media. But so many family vloggers have no sense of respect for their kids' privacy. They film them every day, constantly talk about what they eat, how they dress, even filming them at the dentist or doctor's appointments. I swear they would follow them around at school with a camera if they could. These kids are growing up with cameras in their faces. Every embarrassing moment or the awkward learning process of childhood shared with the world just for YouTube popularity. And so many people think it's cute and don't see any problems with it. I had a friend in high school who set aside an hour or more of every day just to watch the daily vlogs of a handful of families on YouTube. She was weirdly invested, and bought merch with pictures of the family on it and everything. Even had a favorite kid. Like that was the same thing as having a favorite character. Imho, it's also FD up and creepy. The absent-minded creation of sentient life. Submission to authority. I just don't get how the concept of police got so twisted. Were they not originally just citizens like us? From what I've understood, cops should have the exact same rights as the rest of us. They just have training and are supposed to be dedicated to reducing crime. We got by as a society by taking these responsibilities into our own hands. Which is only a tiny part of why I fear police as a concept and as an actual practice that I witness. It's not so much that the concept of the police got twisted. As you put it, the police originated as an organization for catching runaway slaves. And years of militarization and discriminatory legislation that they are sworn to uphold. The war on drugs have only continued the police's use as a tool of the state which protects property over people. Vigilance is really lost on the majority of people these days. Asserting rights is necessary to a free society. Cops killing people and getting off with a slap on the wrist. Eating yourself to death. Wait, that's possible? Sounds horrible. Acutely. i.e., eating such a big meal that your stomach ruptures or it constricts your lungs so that you can't breathe. It's very hard. Chronically. Such that you cut your lifespan and life quality in half with morbid obesity. Very doable. Whoa. Sounds awful. I don't want to do that. The lottery and scratch-offs. They're basically state-sponsored gambling addictions that have been shown to target the poor and uneducated, but no one bats an eye at it. I work in a gas station. The amount of money I see people blow on lottery, especially scratch-offs, is astounding. What little money they win from their tickets goes to buying more. We get regulars who come in and play scratch-offs every single day. It makes me want to ask them if they need help because I'm sure they're truly addicted. Had a single mom that would buy the cheapest food possible and spend every last dime she had left on scratch-offs. Always felt bad for the kid. She clearly had enough money to afford healthy food, but she would spend hundreds a month on scratch-offs. I hope he's doing fine now. Narrator. She wasn't. Quote. Violence and abuse of authority in America. American healthcare. Child beauty pageants. Whole concept is just you. Also, pedigree-bred animals. It basically means that the animals are more inbred than Alabama and the already puddle-like gene pool gets even shallower. Not to mention the absolutely horrible things we've bred into some creatures. Like a genetic inability to even breathe. I think all pugs should be allowed to live out the rest of their natural lives and never reproduce. As a mercy killing of the breed. Came here to say the same thing about dog breeds. All pure breeds are a mess of genetic issues. I genuinely think dog breeders are some of the most selfish people on earth. And they have the gall to call themselves dog lovers . I'll also throw in tail and ear docking. Mutilating an animal so it looks better to you is literally indefensible. I have heard that some dog breeds' tails can basically break off because they wag so hard and smack them into stuff. So they need to be docked for medical reasons. IIRC pit bulls and Great Danes are very susceptible to these injuries. But under non-medical circumstances. Absolutely aesthetic mutilation is horrendous. I'll throw in declawing cats. Violence by the police. Homelessness. It's getting worse. Not better. IDK if that's exactly normalized. But I do agree that it is getting worse to an extent. What you're expected to do just to barely keep a roof over your head is a bit much sometimes. Especially with horrible wages. It's because we have terrible housing policies and low wages. I work full-time and my lease ends in about 5 weeks. I am very seriously looking at homelessness because I can't qualify for even a super inexpensive apartment because my salary is so low. I'm looking at a commute of an hour or so to find something cheaper. Or getting roommates. Which isn't a good idea due to my disability. It's pretty disruptive for roommates. It's honestly so horrible I almost broke down when I told my family about it. Because I'm seriously considering going to live with my elderly father instead. Extramarital affairs. And people actually want to get into them. All this glorification of side piece and side chick and people feeling the need to brag about I'm loyal, like being monogamous in a relationship where you have both agreed to be monogamous in as if it's some sort of rare diamond quality. Instead of the bare bones of basic human decency. Is so disgusting. Maybe it's all just pop culture bluster. But it makes me think that if you're 18 now you just expect to be cheated on. What's weird is that some people would prefer cheating over an open relationship. Like, WTF? An open relationship means both sides are allowed to have sex with other people. Usually someone doesn't want to think about their spouse being with someone else. Even though they are seeing others themselves. But also, As someone else mentioned, some people like the secrecy. Cheating. Gamers using the word cancer as a common slur. Alcoholism and obesity. As a struggling alcoholic, I've been to AA meetings and they basically encourage you to eat your feelings instead of drink them. Heavy alcohol consumption is so normalized that it makes it rough to quit. I'm sober just because I don't like alcohol. No moral stand. I just don't like the taste or the feeling of being drunk. And it's really amazing just how ingrained alcohol culture is into our society. I can't tell you how many people have tried to peer pressure me into having some drinks. Or just seem baffled at the very idea that I wouldn't want to. Or don't have anything to drink at social functions besides alcohol and tap water. And I'm not just talking in college. I'm talking full-fledged adults in their 30s or older. It's annoying enough for me. Who's doing it purely for preference? I can't imagine how difficult it is for people like you for whom drinking would be seriously detrimental to your physical and/or mental health. Major respect. Yeah, I don't really have a moralistic objection to alcohol. For most people, there are some individuals who definitely shouldn't drink because of how they act when drunk. I definitely have had some fun evenings drinking with friends over the years. But I can have fun without alcohol too. And to be honest, maybe it's because I'm getting a little older. But drinking sometimes makes you feel queasy. Or worse, if you overdo it. And I don't want that. Drinking just isn't important to me. And it's expensive too. If I'm gonna spend money on a night out, I'd rather spend it on tasty food than on alcohol. Yeah, I don't drink either. And I get tons of ST for it from people. It's generally not an issue from my friends who do drugs. They ask if I want to partake and then never bother me again about it. But my more normal friends will push me about it over and over. Sucking it up. Grinning and bearing. I don't mean small inconveniences. I mean staying in a horrible job that is destroying you. Staying in a marriage, relationship that doesn't work for anyone involved, or it doesn't work just for one half of the relationship. Staying with a group of friends that are mean to you, etc. Things and attitudes change slowly, but for some it's not fast enough. Many people will spend their lives dead inside. Tangled in a job and/or relationship that is bad for them because they don't feel they can or are allowed to make a change to make them happier. Because that's what everyone does. Because we have to be grown up and suck it up. People not going to the doctor because they can't afford it. People having to declare bankruptcy because of their medical debt. The amount of debt graduate-level healthcare workers go into to just get a job. Farmed. NP. PA. DPT. MD. Especially MD. In most of the world this is not normalized. It's unfortunately very normalized in the US. But we have so many people you can't compare us to other countries. Quote. Student loans. Especially currently. Public shaming based on pure assumptions and guessing. Same as bullying in any way. Both around kids and adults. Circumcision. I mean, it's your kid, so do what you want, but the idea of something so excruciating being performed with little or no pain medication seems really cruel to me. Where does genital mutilation come from, and why do most Americans practice genital mutilation? It's just ritual here. Mostly for religious reasons and because sadly most women prefer a circumcised PS here, so it's just the norm to do it. So you would be okay with your parents arranging to have part of your ear lopped off tomorrow? Yes, they may be your kids, but it is still your kid's body. Don't go removing parts of your kid's body without a solid medical reason for it. How I like to call our society. Psychologically terroristic. The kids and teens nowadays are numbing their innocence from the internet and what they get to see. Making them kind of FD up in the head without noticing. I mean, kids bully and stuff and may see some horror film. But not that MT. Self-destructive ST. A gigantic cover-up plan is implemented throughout the system so that no one outside the home notices what's going on within and the family will look normal. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos.